Dopamine loop hijacking.
Every time you check your phone, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, not because something interesting happened, but because something might happen. That's the hook. The uncertainty of what you'll find, a text, a like, a notification, creates a variable reward pattern. The same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Your brain wasn't built to resist this. It evolved to seek unpredictable rewards, because in nature, that meant finding food or avoiding danger. Now it means refreshing Instagram 14 times in 6 minutes. The pattern gets carved deeper every time you check. Your brain learns that boredom equals phone. Within months, you can't sit in silence without reaching for it. Not because you want to, because your dopamine system is now running the show.
Attention span collapse. Your ability to focus on one thing for an extended period is measurably worse than it was a decade ago. The average attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds now. Goldfish are at 9. That's not a metaphor, that's measured data. Here's what happened. Your phone trained your brain to expect new stimulation every few seconds. Scroll, swipe, refresh, new content, instant hit. Do that enough and your brain recalibrates. Anything longer than 30 seconds without novelty feels unbearable. Books become hard, long conversations feel tedious, even movies require a second screen. You're not lazy, you're not broken. Your brain physically adapted to the environment you gave it, and that environment delivers constant rapid-fire stimulation that nothing else in your life can match. Phantom vibration syndrome. You feel your phone vibrate in your pocket. You check it, nothing's there. That happens to roughly 90% of smartphone users. It's called phantom vibration syndrome, and it's your brain misfiring because it's now hyper-tuned to expect notifications. Here's the mechanism. Your brain's sensory cortex is constantly scanning for signals it considers important. After thousands of real vibrations that delivered social rewards, texts, likes, messages, your brain started prioritizing vibration as a critical signal. Now it's so sensitized that random nerve firings, muscle twitches, even the fabric of your pants brushing your leg gets misinterpreted as your phone buzzing. Your brain would rather false alarm than miss a notification. The cost of a false positive is 2 seconds of confusion. The cost of missing a text used to feel catastrophic. Continuous partial attention. You're never fully present anymore. You're watching TV with your phone in your hand. You're in a conversation while mentally composing a text. You're reading an article with 6 other tabs open. That's continuous partial attention. Your brain is splitting focus across multiple streams simultaneously and doing none of them well. The problem is that human brains don't actually multitask, they task switch. Every time you glance at your phone during another activity, your brain has to disengage, reorient, process the new input, then switch back. Each switch costs cognitive energy and time. Studies show it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully return to a task after an interruption. You're not doing 2 things at once. You're doing everything worse, and you've been doing it so long you don't remember what full attention feels like anymore. Memory outsourcing effect. You don't remember phone numbers anymore. You don't remember directions. You barely remember conversations because your brain knows your phone is holding all of it. That's called cognitive offloading. Your brain is efficient. If it knows information is stored externally and easily accessible, it stops encoding it internally. Why waste energy remembering something you can look up in 3 seconds? The issue is that memory isn't just storage, it's how your brain builds connections, context, and understanding. When you stop remembering, you stop integrating. Facts stay isolated. You could access information, but you're not learning it. Studies on GPS use show people navigate perfectly with it and have zero spatial memory of the route afterward. Your brain didn't store the map because it didn't need to. The phone remembered. And slowly, you're becoming dependent on it for everything. Sleep architecture disruption. Blue light from your phone suppresses melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Suppress it and your circadian rhythm gets delayed. You stay awake later, you fall asleep slower, the sleep you do get is lighter and less restorative. That's the mechanical part. The psychological part is worse. Checking your phone before bed floods your brain with stimulation. Emails, news, arguments on social media, content designed to provoke emotion. Your brain can't power down properly because it's still processing that stimulation hours later. REM sleep gets cut short, deep sleep gets fragmented. You wake up tired even after 8 hours because the architecture of your sleep was broken. And the cycle repeats because tired brains crave stimulation, so you use your phone more the next day to compensate. Social reciprocity anxiety. Someone texts you, you see it, now there's a timer running in your head. If you don't reply fast enough, they'll think you're ignoring them. If you reply too fast, you look desperate. That's social reciprocity anxiety, and it's entirely new to human psychology. Before phones, conversations had natural delays. You called, they weren't home, you tried later. No one tracked response time to the minute. Now, read receipts and typing indicators have turned every message into a social performance. You're not just communicating, you're managing perception in real time. The anxiety comes from the fact that there's no right answer. Every delay gets interpreted, every quick reply gets analyzed. And because everyone else is doing the same thing, the whole system runs on mutual hypervigilance. You're not texting, you're playing a game where the rules are invisible and constantly changing. Infinite scroll hypnosis. You opened Instagram to check one thing, 30 minutes later you're 7 pages deep into a stranger's vacation photos from 2019. That's not lack of willpower, that's interface design. Infinite scroll removes natural stopping points. In the old internet, pages ended. You clicked next or you stopped. That decision point gave your brain a moment to evaluate, do I want to keep going? Infinite scroll removes that moment. Content loads automatically as you move. There's no friction, no pause, no decision. Your brain stays in passive consumption mode. Scrolling becomes automatic. The motion itself is soothing, rhythmic, almost meditative. And because the feed is algorithmically curated to show you things you're likely to engage with, there's always something just interesting enough to keep you from stopping. You're not scrolling because you want to. You're scrolling because stopping requires active effort, and the app made that effort as hard as possible. Notification Pavlovian. Pavlov's dog heard a bell and started salivating because the bell meant food was coming. You hear a notification sound and your heart rate spikes because the sound means someone wants your attention. Same mechanism. Classical conditioning. After thousands of pairings between sound and social reward, your nervous system now responds to the sound itself. The buzz, the ding, the banner lighting up your screen, all of it triggers a physiological reaction before you even know what the notification is. That reaction pulls your attention involuntarily. You can't ignore it. You can try, but your body is already responding. Heart rate up, cortisol released, attention redirected. And just like Pavlov's dog, the response happens even when there's no reward. Notification for an app update, a promotional email, a game you don't play anymore. Doesn't matter. Your brain reacts the same way every time. Deep work inability. Deep work is sustained, focused effort on a cognitively demanding task. Writing, coding, analysis, learning. It requires unbroken concentration for at least 90 minutes. Most people can't do it anymore. Not because they lack discipline, but because their brain's default state has changed. Your phone has trained your brain to expect interruption. Even when it's not buzzing, even when it's in another room, part of your attention is monitoring for it. That's called attention residue. A portion of your cognitive capacity stays anchored to the last thing you looked at or the next thing you might check. You sit down to focus, and within 8 minutes, your hand reaches for your phone. Not because something happened, because your brain hit its new threshold for stimulation and needs a hit. Deep work requires the ability to be bored temporarily. Your phone eliminated boredom, and in doing so, it eliminated your ability to push through the early uncomfortable phase of hard focus. Facial recognition decline. You're worse at reading faces than you were 10 years ago. Emotional recognition, microexpressions, the tiny signals people give off in real-time conversation, all of it has measurably declined in populations with high screen time. The reason is simple. Your brain learns what it practices. Faces on screens don't behave like faces in real life. They're flattened, lit artificially, often filtered. Eye contact doesn't exist through a screen. The subtle shifts in expression that happen in three-dimensional space don't translate. Spend enough time looking at flat digital faces, and your brain deprioritizes the neural pathways used for live facial processing. Kids who grew up on tablets show delayed development in this area. Adults who switched to remote work report feeling less socially confident in person. You didn't lose the skill on purpose, you just stopped practicing it. And your brain reallocated that processing power to something you do more often, staring at a screen. Temporal distortion. You check your phone for 2 minutes. You look up and 20 minutes are gone. Time doesn't feel linear anymore when you're on your phone. That's because the rapid context switching between apps, messages, videos, posts breaks your brain's ability to construct a coherent timeline. Normally, your brain timestamps memories using emotional shifts and environmental changes. Scroll through a feed, and every 12 seconds there's new content, a new micro-emotion, a new topic. Your brain tries to timestamp all of it, and the result is temporal blur. You can't remember what you saw or in what order because your brain couldn't encode it properly. Hours dissolve into nothing. Entire evenings vanish. You intended to check one thing, and suddenly it's midnight. That's not time flying because you're having fun. That's your brain losing its ability to track time because the stimulation is too rapid and too fragmented to process normally.